And we're back today. Okay, Cass, we've been talking all day with all these different scholars, and I've been dying to talk to this guy for like ever. He's Valentino Rahming. He's coming all the way from Nassau, Bahamas, and he's going to tell us about this research project he's been doing. It's all the world, and I'd love for him to talk to us today. So, can we give a warm kitchen welcome to Valentino? Valentino, welcome today. Welcome on our show.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you for being here. It's been much pleasure, much obliged. So I wanted to talk to you a little bit today about your project you've been doing. A little about yourself first, where you're from, what you're doing, and how you've come to do this work.
So I'm a Spanish teacher by profession. However, currently at the Pennsylvania State University, where I'm working under Dr. Uju Anya, and my research interests are around student identity and investment as it pertains to specifically to language learning. And so, we look at how students change over time and over space as they negotiate the language learning process and the sociological factors involved in language learning.
Now, Valentino, do tell for all us lords out there, what exactly is those sociological factors you do mention?
Okay. Ideology. And that just means, the ideas around language learning, based on different contexts, prior experiences that have shaped, who it is that they've become. And it also looks at capital. The idea that when students invest in a foreign language, they anticipate some reward or some return on their investment.
I was reading your presentation. I was just totally astounded by everything that you've done. From those 5 tenets right there, can you tell us maybe the most important you feel is like the purpose of this research?
Okay, well, basically, I would look at the first one. There are a few scholars that have advocated for a social turn in the field, looking outside of the classroom, looking outside of the individual language learner into the society, seeing what's happening in the society, and allowing those to dictate or to better inform what it is that we do in the classroom. Also, I want to focus in on insider researchers by Tillman. These researchers are members of the communities that they intend on studying.
Now, we've only got you here today, Valentino. Who's this Dominic Murdoch girl? Who's that?
She's a colleague of mine at the Pennsylvania State University, a brilliant scholar. So in this project, I'm looking at access, okay? We're looking at how language learners, become a part of the group that language learners envision themselves becoming a part of as a result of them learning a different language.
Please talk us through it.
Okay, so access. Access is a language learner's, as it states, a language learner's positioning in accordance to their imagined language community. We look at how they position, language learners in terms of, the jobs that they're allowed to do, in terms of, how they're looked at, from a sociological perspective, daily interaction.
And for all those lollipops out there, what exactly does it mean when you have a name followed by a date, or let's say this 221? What exactly does that mean?
The page number that the quote is able to be found on.
They love to fact check me. They're always in my comments telling me that's not true, that's not right.
By Dr. Anya says that before language learners experience transformation in a translanguaging space, they first envision themselves as participants in a new and a desired community, and they conceptualize their place and their identities with their imagined communities. So even before this transformation takes place, language learning is a transformative experience. So even before this transformation takes place, they first see themselves as members of this community.
And then later are part of that community, and they can see that transformation happening within themselves.
Exactly.
Interesting. I'm putting down what you're picking up. I love it. Readers, I will post this book down at the bottom, my viewers. If you're interested in it, we're going to link Dr. Anya's book, and you can follow her as well. It's all all your different sources of data you're taking and then you're cross-referencing them against one another. That's what you're doing with your data. So really quickly, we've got Steve, Carol, Janet, Claudia, and Peter. Three 26-year-olds, 133, 159. Feel like I'm on a dating show. If you'd like to date any of these 5 people we've got on the screen here, reach out to Valentino. I wanted to quickly pop through these. You mentioned earlier, if we go back to that data portion, you took autobiographies from the learners, correct?
Yes.
So you wrote their autobiographies that gave you some insight into how they learned English or why they learned English. So some of the important things I went ahead and noted from your autobiographies that you sent me in those packets.
Well, it was a big change for me because
Steve, it's working!
a big part of my language learning had been in the classroom up to that point. And being in the environment where everybody spoke French really helped my desire to learn and become better.
Those people that who don't really go to English prime school, they become very they become like slow learners in school, but it's not their problem. I mean, it's just like they don't really get a chance to do it.
They don't have the access.
It brought me to be aware of these the different relationships and the different ways of. For example, actually in Taiwan, sometimes as a learner, I don't feel the need to contribute to the class. I don't feel the need to talk, to share my ideas in the class. And we don't value that. Right. But here, it feels like, sometimes it feels like it's a need or it is required.
Yeah, you almost feel like you are somehow behind if you are not
if you
contributing.
don't speak, if you don't share, it means you are not contributing
Right.
to the group.
To the learning,
Sometimes there's this expectation of your contribution.
Yeah.
So can you tell us, do you feel like overall you got a good gauge on these questions from your participants?
Definitely answer these questions.
It's like here over the pond, we speak English, but we're saying things like loo and biscuits and crumpets, and no one in America is saying those things. So when I talk to my friends over the tolly, I'm not just here enjoying my biscuits on the loo, they think I'm bonkers.
Yeah.
But it's those nuanced things that we'd like to teach our learners so they know how to use English effectively in certain settings. Actually, this would be a perfect place to take a little break. So I've got some sponsors here. I need to hear from our sponsors. So if you get right back with us, we're going to come back. So give us a screenshot for our viewers.
Everyone is dealing with uncontrollable hunger during this COVID-19 pandemic. Well, for me, my go-to snack is Kraft macaroni and cheese. It contains no artificial preservatives, flavors, or dyes, and satisfies your hunger with cheesy goodness. Stop your local store today. Controlling your hunger will be a breeze, as long as you eat Kraft macaroni and cheese.
Corona is taking over our lives. So if you saw that commercial, get with your PPE. Valentino, we're going to jump right back in with the findings you were telling us about your project. My viewers can read just fine. So if you want to just point out the ones that are most important to you, that'd be great.
There is always this societal pressure to learn English, particularly in Taiwan, because it's viewed as, elite. It's viewed as, becoming a part of a particular social class.
And there's one thing that popped out to me really important here. We talked about learner agency.
Yes.
Being a key factor in learner acquisition, and I think and I think that's something that this project, when I was reading and researching, understanding your research, that popped out to me. Agency is that factor that allows a learner to engage, whether it be with the culture, whether it be with the food, the people, the language itself, the syntax or grammar. It's that agency that they have to want to engage with the language that I find so fascinating. And it's so varied from person to person. It's almost like you can't put your finger on it, but it certainly exists. It's
Yes.
amazing.
There's definitely a crucial need for more research on access to language learning opportunities. Definitely, to inform practices and to inform the field of second language education at large.
Thank you so much, Valentino. You've been a pleasure. You hear that, internet? There are resources out there. There is access at your
Definitely.
fingertips. Do not let this COVID-19, this situation that we're all in right now. Yes, we're homebound. Yes, we're tired of being in the house, but there are ways to get out of your head, get out of your space, have some access to the larger world, and continue learning those languages. So, Valentino, we want to give a wild Susan Summers welcome for you coming in today. Say thank you. Hey, total actor.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Okay, bye, Valentino.
Bye.
Bye. Okay.